Welcome to the Localpreneur Show, a podcast dedicated to featuring community-based entrepreneurs, the principles they live by, and the success they're having making a difference in the world. Here's your host, Austin Kane.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the Localpreneur Show. Super excited to be back and have this guest with us here this morning. Today we've got Ron Liner with Ron's TV and stereo installation out of St. Paul, Minnesota here to tell a little bit about himself, his story, and how he's impacting his customers' lives and the community around him. So Ron, thanks for being here, and I'll let you kind of take the mic, introduce yourself, a little about who you are and what you guys do.
Well, sure. Thank you so much for having me, by the way.
Absolutely.
And yeah, my name's Ron Liner, and I'm in St. Paul, Minnesota. And my business is called Ron's TV and Stereo Installation. And, it's pretty much a very small business. It's mostly just me. I have a couple guys who can help me when I need them, but primarily what I do is mount TVs on the wall, and do a lot of, and also wiring and hiding the wires. And also I do home theater speakers. But yeah, I just go to people's homes, and I do also some, businesses, restaurants, offices, things like that.
Perfect. Well, hey, I know that's a big need in today's world. Almost everybody wants their TV hanging. I'm trying to figure out how to hang one here in my office. So, I can have something going while I'm working during the day. But today, Ron, and then for those of you listening, and maybe you've heard an episode or two before, the Localpreneur Show is all about, talking about these home service companies in their local service areas and how they're making a difference in one way or another. Over the years, we've worked with hundreds and hundreds of companies, and we all see this common thread. It is that local impact, whether it's stopping on the side of the road to help change a tire when you're on the way to the job, or it's just valuing your customers above all else, and making sure that every customer is treated the way they should. And so, we're here to talk about that, how you're changing the lives of people. And so let's jump in, Ron. Let's talk a little about you and your journey. So, Ron, let's first start with how did you get started? Just kind of what's your story? Let's start at ground zero. What kind of compelled you to jump in this business?
Well, honestly, it's just been a lifetime of this business, from even a very, very early age. I kind of give credit to my father, who he loved big band music, and like Frank Sinatra and all these, and jazz. And so he loved music, and he had a pretty cool stereo, and he liked to get me into it. Yeah. So he this is going way back. So, and I'll never forget, he was going to give me his stereo system, and we went to the store together and was looking at a new one for him, but because he gave me his, and I just thought, man, this is the coolest stuff. This is just, I love not only the music, but I thought the equipment itself was really cool, with the knobs and the switches and the meters. And of course, this is way back in like the 70s. Anyway, so I just always loved music, and I loved the equipment and listening to music. So on a good stereo. And so my whole life, then I started working selling this stuff. So when I was in my early 20s, I worked selling stereo systems. And this was way back in the day before we even had CD players. I mean, we had turntables, we had tape decks, and TVs back then were not part of the stereo. That was like sitting in another room. So I most of my life, I've been a salesman in stores and selling home audio. And then, of course, the birth of home theater was when somebody said, hey, let's put a TV in the middle of these speakers. And that's really when surround sound started. The stereo stores just loved it because they were struggling anyway. And now all of a sudden, instead of just selling 2 speakers, they're selling at least 5 or 6 speakers plus all this other stuff. And it really gave a a big burst to this industry because people could watch a movie and have fantastic sound. They could watch a concert. And then of course the TV started getting bigger. So I've been in this industry my entire life. And what happened, the way I started my own business was about, 14 years ago, I was selling TVs and stereos in a store that went out of business. And I was collecting unemployment and I thought, I'm going to start my own little business. And a buddy of mine is a graphics guy. He helped me. We kind of designed a logo and came up with the name, and I started it. And of course, like any small business, it didn't just take off. So I had to go back for the next couple years and work more for other people. But eventually it started to take off. And I would say about the last 11 years, getting my website going and just starting. And I ended up getting some reviews. Back then I got on Angie's List and some lady recommended me. I started getting more business. Eventually I was able to only work for myself for, I would say, the last 11 years.
Wow.
I haven't had to work for anybody but me. And now it's a very solid, I'm very grateful, to have enough business where I'm kind of spoiled now. It's nice not having a boss.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But that really is my story. So, I learned the industry, and then I was always good with tools. So I kind of, my ability to, work on drilling and cutting, and I knew a bit about electrical wiring. And I also grew up in a family where everybody was handy. My dad had a huge tool shop, and we kind of grew up around tools and fixing and working on things. So I kind of, at that, when I did this, I was obviously combining my knowledge of audio video plus just having kind of the basic idea of how to drill a hole and put a screw in there. So that's my story.
That's really cool. I mean, it's started all the way just from listening to some music on a cool system with your dad, and and look where it's taking you. It's taking you down to the love of having a business, and working for yourself for the last 11 years or so solely. So I think that just the dedication of it, and putting what you really love into application and doing it. I think that's what life's all about. So let's obviously 11 years is a long time that you've been doing this. I'm sure you've done a lot of jobs for people. You've taken care of a lot of people. You've probably done some pretty cool projects for people. So tell a little bit about how you're impacting your community. What are some of the things that you want to put into practice every day and say, this is what makes me special. This is what I love to do. This is how I take care of everybody that are around me in one way, shape, or form.
Well, yeah, that's a great question. And the thing I understand, and my brain, just when I'm in my truck heading to a job, I would say every time I kind of start adjusting my attitude, if you will, and just basically reminding myself, hey, this job, and some of these are small jobs. So some jobs I do are not a lot of money, and some jobs are much more expensive, and their people are also buying stuff. I also sell products. So my biggest jobs will be where, I'm selling, not only am I installing everything, but they literally buy the stuff from me because I deal through distributors, so I can sell all the equipment, make a profit on that, as well as selling them the labor time. But what I'm getting at is, even when I'm going to a small job, I adjust my attitude and say, look, I want to really do right by this guy and take my time. I think that's what I say. Don't be in a hurry. Mm-hmm. Even if I have a busy schedule, the most important job, I don't care how much they're paying me, even if it's small, the most important job is the one that I'm doing, and then the person that I'm going to see. And I just, so I think that, not that I'm perfect. There's times when I have probably maybe cut a corner or tried to get out of there, but that's also painful. And I've learned and said, no, don't do it that way. Do it in a way, because, making money is one thing, but feeling good about what you're doing and doing right by people is really probably in a way, it's more valuable than money in a way, so
Yeah.
um try to, and I think that's part of my success. I have uh on my reviews, I have 54 5-star reviews, and these are all people who really are happy, and they really, they, and I don't want to brag, but I'm just saying I put the time in and did it right in my view, and I think they felt that way too. And I also really like the creative part of this. I feel a little bit like a lot of this is artistic design. I try to come up with creative ideas of how to make this stuff look nice,
Yeah.
and attention to detail, and then also come up with creative solutions for what people want to do with making their system easy to use, remote programming, stuff like that. So yeah, it's just, you know,
Yeah, no, I think I think that's a big impact,
the
just,
long end.
yeah, no, like you were saying, I mean, it's, when you're in the truck and you're headed there, I mean, that every job is the most important job you've ever done. I think that's a great way to look at it because, like you said, there are ways to cut corners or not do it right. And yeah, it's not going to affect your bottom line. You're still going to get paid the right job, but it could affect future customers and potential income in the future because, reviews are a huge part of today's world. Or just someone says, man, that guy didn't do that great of a job. And that's not the legacy that you really want to leave for yourself and
No,
your business that
yeah,
you've been building. So
no, that's really what I'm thinking of, reputation, because if people are happy, they're going to tell their friends. They're going to use you again in the future because people move a lot. I think a lot of my business, it's amazing. You go to one guy's house and 2 years later, he'll call you and say, hey, I'm moving. I bought a new house. So guess what? You're
yeah.
going to, you're going to do it all again. And so it is repeat business. Of course, it's referral business, but yeah, I mean, and I always tell people it's like making friends. My whole thing is I want to make friends, and not that I'm going to hang out with these people and go out to dinner with them. That's not what I'm talking about, but just have that good feeling. Just even in my interaction with them, to be a nice guy, to kind of have fun. I like to joke around and have fun with people too. So I think it's part of that too.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And you were telling me the other day, kind of another aspect of how you take care of everybody is you were kind of referring to yourself as almost like kind of like an on-call doctor.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that. How, I mean, that's even an added step. Sometimes a job's a job and you're done, but that's not necessarily the case for you.
Absolutely. Because I look at it like, people who are, when I see a call on my phone and it's a previous customer who I've worked for, and they have an issue, either there's something I didn't do right, or they don't understand something on how to work something. I just feel like they're one of my people, and I care to make sure that they're pleased. Again, it's so I, and I think I've told you a little story. I mean, there's people who call me, it's Super Bowl day or what,
Oh
there's a
yeah.
game, and it's like they'll call me and and maybe I don't answer right away, but I'll hear the voicemail that's like, Ron, I've got people over, I can't turn this thing on or whatever. And it's like, oh my God, I feel that I can't just blow that guy off, even.
Absolutely.
So I want to, you know, and I guess the part of it, I get a kick out of being the hero. I mean, there's times
Yeah.
where, and then they're so appreciative, like, oh, Ron, I mean, and they see, I think a lot of it, it's easy because there's so many, and not to put other companies down, but there's so many companies and people have had so many bad experiences where companies don't call you back. They're not in, once it's over, they never
Mhm.
want to talk. So by just being decent and calling them back and caring a little bit, these people are blown away. And
Absolutely.
I guess I like to be the hero, and I get a kick out of, they're like, thank you so much, man. You got me running. And, so it's, that's just me, I think that's just, wanting to, again, I feel these people paid me, and not that I owe them for the rest of my life, but I do want to the extent, especially if I feel like it's maybe something I didn't do right, or I never really explained it, or whatever it is. Yeah. So that's, again,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think, and just like, I've done a lot of these podcast episodes, everybody's contribution to their community and the people around them is a little different. And yours is by work ethic, and it's pouring in your best work and, all the values that you've been raised on and, doing every job like it's like it's the last job, making sure that it's done right. And then even taking care of people, time and time again, in those times of need. That obviously makes a huge impact. So, I think that what you're doing is great. You're running a great business, and obviously it's something that a lot of people care about in their homes. Homes are something people like to show off these days. So everybody wants to make sure that it looks nice and looks great, and they can host their big parties. So,
yeah.
So, Ron, the last question before we jump off here. I know at the beginning of the episode here, you said, you're still small business, kind of mainly yourself. Talk a little bit about the future. What do you want the future to look like, and how you want your legacy of Ron's TV and stereo install to carry on, maybe when
Well,
you're ready to hang up the cleats one day.
absolutely. And I would definitely say I'm a late bloomer. I'm 60, I'm going to be 63 in June. And I started this business when I was about 50. So I wish I had, I mean, it is what it is. We all have our path. I maybe you could say I started this, I could have started it when I was, 20 years sooner, but anyway, it is what it is. I feel good. I feel healthy. I feel like I can keep going. But yeah, someday not in maybe not too many years, I want to, get someone to take it over. I feel like the name has value. I don't know if I would either just sell the name or sell the business, or probably even be more fun.
Yeah.
To somebody who wants to learn and kind of mentor someone. And again, I would really get a kick out of, and I've done some of this to see that I enjoy showing people the things that I have learned.
Absolutely.
And to do this efficiently. And no, I would like to do that. So
and I think that that's another aspect of impacting someone else in the community around you. It's giving them a career path maybe they didn't know they had, and teaching them everything that and you're continuing. You're not just saying, hey, I'm done. You're teaching someone else to even maybe take care of your customers and new customers to come. So I think that's another huge impact.
Exactly. And
I was gonna say you might have to find somebody named Ron to pass it on to.
I want to just throw in, just as a last comment, is the fun thing for me, as I'm still always learning. The cool thing about doing this stuff, I just keep getting better and better, and it's just from kind of keep finding new ways to do it more efficiently. And also, I almost enjoy when I run into trouble, because that even if you make a mistake, I take that as a learning experience. And I'll even in my phone, I'll put notes. It's like, remember this. And it's like, that to me is kind of the fun of it too, is that you're always, every house in the Twin Cities has a lot of old houses built turn of the century. And of course a lot of people, renovate them. But the point is just, it's kind of cool, because you always can run into situations. It's like, oh my God, how can I do this? And there's a challenge here. There's some wood in the way in the wall, and I've got to figure out a way. And I kind of get a kick out of that. So
absolutely,
I'm always learning. So I appreciate myself too, that it's just it's not like some jobs are super easy because I've done the same thing over and over, but it's fun when you run into something that's more challenging, and it's kind of fun. So just kind of say that and be ending with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, no, I appreciate you being on the Localpreneur show here today, Ron, and sharing, your journey and your story, and really how you're, helping change the lives of people around you just by the great work and the constant follow up and always being there for everybody in your industry when they need you. So go ahead.
No, that's it. I thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, yeah, no, absolutely. Well, thanks again for being on here, and everybody listening. I hope hope you were able to pick something up out of this video and apply it into your business as well. So Ron, thanks again. And to everyone else, looking forward to the next episode of the Localpreneur Show.
Thank you.